I'm Naren Koneru. I lead engineering for safety at Roblox. Before I start, how many of you have played or heard about Roblox in the last month? How many of you have a child or a family member? That's probably most of you. I gave a talk in Berkeley recently to the graduating class of this year. I've been doing this for a few years, and I asked this question: how many of you have actually started your tech STEM journey with using Roblox? It was fascinating. Almost three-fourths of the class said Roblox was the first time they started coding. That's how they started their STEM journey, which was really fascinating for me to hear. And Roblox is a place where people come to share, they create, they learn, and they have fun with their friends. And this happens at a very large scale. We have about 150 million users coming across like over 180 countries, and they are interacting with each other. They're playing these games around like 6 million experiences that we have and billions of interactions. Just this year alone, we are expected to moderate around 2 trillion pieces of content. This includes messages, images, games, 3D environments like this, etc. It's a big challenge, and we have to build systems that can scale. We have to use AI to scale these platforms. I was actually talking to somebody earlier today. There's a lot of things that we can debate about AI, but I genuinely believe that it is one of the slam dunk use cases for improving safety. These large scale systems need to respond sometimes in milliseconds to seconds to maybe hours for deeper investigations. Given that, safety is really a shared responsibility. If you think about it, it anything around safety spans from policy, which defines what is right, what is not right, to a product that has all sorts of constraints around like who can use it, how often can they use, and things like that, and deep technical innovations that is required to understand how do we actually implement this policy in a scalable way. Imagine if 150 million users, 2 trillion pieces of content, how do we enforce a policy? We can define a policy all we want, but how do we actually enforce it is going to be a huge deal. And having humans in the loop is really critical to make sure that our AI is not digressing from what it's supposed to do. So it is really a shared responsibility. And like the previous two talks mentioned, bots are there everywhere. The bad actors, they keep moving from one platform to the another to another. We can do a really good job on one platform, but then all we're doing is we're just kicking them off to the next place where they can go and create the same harm. So we really need to build tech and policies to be shared across the internet overall ecosystem. And policies keep changing. What was acceptable maybe a month ago is probably not acceptable now, given the current events and stuff. I have two teenagers and I keep learning new language from them every single day. In our car ride, like there's a new term that I learn, and sometimes those are not acceptable too. And I think the language keeps evolving, and our models, our systems need to evolve with the people, with the policies all the time in a very rapid way. One of the challenges that we have is a lot of the AI requires deep investment in infrastructure and deep needs, like they're all data hungry. And one of the challenges that we have with research producing this is because they don't have either of this. And this is where like large scale platforms like us and other companies too, we need to be able to share this infra, share the learnings, and build an overall internet community that is safe. So to that extent, we've been open sourcing our models for a while now. We built this thing called Roblox Sentinel. And this is like, how do we proactively detect bad actors and try to prevent the harm before it actually happens? Almost sounds like science fiction. A good analogy is, if you just look at a brush stroke of a painting, we can't say anything, right? A single sentence doesn't mean anything. But if you look at the overall painting together, it can see if it's like a contemporary art, if it's a medieval art, whatever. So that's how we will accumulate all of these learnings over a period of these conversations and then try to see, is this conversation actually going in the wrong direction? And then we intervene and then try to do the right things. So this is a system that we built. It's called Sentinel. We open sourced it. We've been getting pretty good feedback from other companies as well. And this is one place where most of the large online platforms, they do a really good job when somebody reports that there is an abuse, but a lot of abuse doesn't get reported. We need to go and proactively detect this, and that's where the system helps. Similarly, we do have another PII classifier. This is like PII stands for personally identifiable information. We don't allow any personal information to be shared on our platforms. But detecting that is, again, very hard. You can stop phone numbers, but people can put words and phone numbers together or in multiple messages, in vertical history, etc. This is, again, a very hard problem. A lot of platforms have the same issues, and we open source this. And I'll show you some stats. It's been downloaded very well. The last one I'll refer to is a voice classifier. So in real time, we can detect if there is any toxicity in the voice. Again, doing this at a large scale is the hard part. But within 10 seconds, we can say, hey, if somebody is going off the rails and just going swearing all the time, and we can detect this. And what the biggest thing that we observed is if you are able to give feedback in real time, people change their behavior. A lot of the times harms do happen because people don't know what's the right thing to do. There are a lot of good people, and giving real-time interventions is really helpful. So we've been working on this. I'm not going to go through this list, but there's a whole bunch of models that people download to make the overall internet safer. We really think the future of the safety is in this open source ecosystem. Because of all the stuff that I mentioned, bad actors move from each other, policies keep changing, you need to be consistent. So this is how I see the safety system evolving over the next couple of years. The multimodal part of it is going to become way stronger. It's all about the context. An example of saying, hey, I'm going to kill you in a game is totally okay. In a shooting game, it's totally okay. Absolutely not okay in this room or talking to someone else. So I think we need to understand this context, and that will get better. And the proactive detections will become the norm, right? So platforms will start not just going to be on reactive side, but more proactively detecting all these harms and then preventing them. And we just started rolling out these age checks, and I think that will become like the standard over the next few years. So we require everybody to have a appropriate age check, not a self-declared age, before you can use communication features and other features on the platform. And we think that is going to be the norm going forward in the industry. And last but not least, we've been partnering with this organization called Roost, which is building the open source ecosystem around tooling and models. We are founding partners of this as well. And we think that the safety tooling that's going to come out of Roost will become the standard over the next few years. And it'll give a boost for a lot of the companies to just get bootstrapped, because the current existing techniques like captchas and all, they will not work in the new age of AI. And we need to reinvent this, and we need to do this in a shareable way. And we are very excited to be the partners of Roost along with the other companies. And I think this is going to be exciting. Hopefully, we'll leave the internet a much more safer place than where we are right now. Thank you.